Welcome back to another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. Tis the holiday season, so people get busy. Tim and I weren't able to get on the same schedule this week. I've been busy, so we're gonna do a little condensed episode here. Um, and yeah, so starting off, obviously we had a huge game, Eagles, Ravens, and the Birds pulled it out. I mean, honestly, since week six, the biggest storyline has been the defense and Saquon Barkley. Well, obviously Saquon Barkley, but the defense has been absolutely insane. Um, so since week six, so you know, 7, 8 games ago, Eagles defense ranks first in defensive points allowed at 13.4 in a game. They're allowing 13.4 points per game since week six. Okay. Total defense, they are allowing 241.3 yards per game, number one in the league. They're allowing 148.5 passing yards per game, number one in the league. They are third in out percentage. So, team gets the ball, whether it's a kick, punt, turnover, three and out on 44.2% of drives. That's pretty fucking good. Sacks, we were on their ass about needing more pressure to the quarterback or in the first 6 games of the season, first 5 games of the season, whatever. Since week six, they have 30 sacks, and that ranks number one in that span. They also, we were like, where are the turnovers? Where are the turnovers? Now, I'd still like to see more interceptions, but currently they are, since week six, number one in forced fumbles at 11. There's some teams that don't even get 30 sacks and 11 forced fumbles in a season. So they're kicking ass. Bond has been, I mean, there was no one on planet Earth besides maybe his inner circle and Vic Fangio, apparently, that thought this was going to happen. Um, it, Kobe Dean has stayed healthy, and because of that, he has played super well. He's working off his instincts. He's trusting in his. There was a clip from is it the Ravens game? No, I think it was maybe it was a Rams game. I think it was a Rams game where Bond went up to Kobe Dean and was like, "Hey, Coach Sirianni trusts us to make a stop here, and that means a lot to me," or something along those lines. Like Sirianni is doing a great job of being the rah-rah guy, being the hype man, being the not a game plan, not like calling the plays, not a play caller, but getting the guys to perform, getting them to work together to gel. There is a focus with this team right now that you don't see with there's a lot of issues with other teams throughout the league, but they honestly that's the word I keep coming back to is that the Eagles look focused. There aren't any outside distractions. Nick Sirianni does not give a shit about what the media says about him. He's focused on trying to put the best team out there and trying to win every single game 1 week at a time. Um, and because of that, they won 8 straight. Uh, Saquon, crazy stat. The in the second half of the league, so in the second half of this season so far, or no, wait, hold on. So Saquon's number one in rushing right now, which is already a career high for him. And if you were to take all of his yards from the third and fourth quarter this year, just the third and fourth quarter, he would be fourth in the NFL in rushing. Like that is how amazing he's been, especially in the second half. Ravens game was a phenomenal example. They were not doing anything well that first half, right? That first quarter, they had what? The first play was like 10-yard run by Saquon, and then after that is like punt, 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 whatever. Defense did its fucking thing. And so many Ravens fans, just like Eagles haters in general, were like, well, maybe if Justin Tucker would have made his kicks, like the Eagles wouldn't have had a chance. I'm like, first of all, Justin Tucker was kicking field goals because the Eagles defense was stopping Baltimore from getting to the end zone. Okay, that's step one. Step two, Justin Tucker's out of his prime. Like his job is to hit those kicks. Like there is no woulda, shoulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Like the fact of the matter is he did not make his kicks. You can't say, oh, if he would have, yeah, and if Jalen Hurts didn't get, didn't have a fumble in the Super Bowl, the Eagles would have won. That is the equivalent of that. Like you can't take those plays away. Sure, if Tucker had made a couple of those field goals, he left what 7 points on the field. That's a touchdown. The Eagles let off the gas in the second half of the fourth quarter. They were just playing to run out the clock. So I think they would have held on regardless. But it did add momentum. It did give them because they were able to do exactly what we were all looking at on the field. We're like, okay, maybe if they can score before half, get closer, and that's exactly what they did, and they never looked back. Um, Jalen played well. He wasn't asked to do anything crazy. He played well, and the Saquon, did his thing we needed some big runs from him in the fourth quarter, and he delivered. Line played really well, but man, the defense was just coming to play, and it was awesome to see. I think they sacked Lamar like 3 or 4 times. Um, let's see the exact stats. So Eagles won 24-19. Jalen only had 118 yards, but he only had 11 completions. I mean, they kept Lamar in check. Lamar's been torching people. 237 passing yards and like I think he had like 80 rushing yards, but like half of those yards were all on that last play, that last drive that the Ravens had, the garbage touchdown, right? But I mean, Derrick Henry, 19 carries for 82 yards behind a really good Ravens offense. Not great. Zay Flowers, 3 catches, 74 yards, but that was like, one catch was 40 yards. Take that out. They really did well. Um, Defensively, let's see. Zach Bond had a half sack. Nolan Smith had a sack. That was good to see. Jalen Carter, oh man, I talked to him in a second. Jalen Carter had a sack. Jalex Hunt had half a sack. So what does that math out to? I thought Sweat had a sack. So 3 sacks. They got to Lamar 3 times. But man, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis, we were big on in the first couple of games of this season. We were like, they're struggling, like they are not living up to the Georgia pedigree that they were, touted to be. And Jordan Davis has very quietly put together a stout season, very good. But man, Jalen Carter has, I don't, I don't know if he's still up there, but he jumped the Defensive Player of the Year vote. Like he is in the running now without the numbers, right? Because people are recognizing um his dominance. All right, let's see. All right, maybe I lied to you. But so TJ Watt, Miles Garrett, Will Anderson, Xavier McKinney, Daniil Hunter. Crazy. The Texans have 2 edge rushers. Pastor Tane, Chris Jones. Let's see what this one says. TJ Watt, Miles Garrett. Okay, what? I don't know. Well, regardless, he is playing like a defensive player of the year. I don't know where I saw it on maybe it was like if this if it wasn't a stat base, maybe that's what it was. But regardless, he's played really well. But he's like getting, he's getting double teamed. He's on a very Aaron Donald without the numbers run in the last couple of weeks. He's been super and against really good teams, right? Like Rams, he was a monster. Ravens, he was a monster. Like that's what you need out of your big time players to show up in big time games. So hats off to them. Their defense is, as a defensive guy who grew up idolizing Brian Dawkins, the reason I played football, and every sport I ever played, I was always better on defense because I enjoyed the challenge and the like. It was fun to play defense, like trying to stop the other team, trying to guess what they're doing. So watching the Eagles play like this, and not even mention one of the most exciting, one of the most exciting defensive plays I've seen in years, I would argue. Cooper DeJean, man. If y'all haven't heard the song, how it's like Cooper DeJean is not a safety. Something he's a number one corner, or he's a corner. Knock down your number one. I'm gonna edit this out. Oh, y'all need to hear me sing. But he man, Cooper DeJean tackled Derrick Henry open field and put him on his ass. I don't care if people try to like, oh, he was, he caught it right away. Maybe he was a little off bounds. That's Derrick motherfucking King Henry. Like a white, a white rookie cornerback speared Derrick Henry on a third down play. How many times have we seen him make huge stops? Huge stops. So I've been so impressed. And you know what happened since week 6? Cooper Jean was put in the slot. And the only time the Eagles have a big play against them, Avonte Maddox, is on the field. It sucks. I used to really like Avonte. He was a great slot corner when he was healthy. But he's older now, can't stay on the field, and he's a liability, and he needs to stay off. I get it. Cooper DeJean can't play he needs a break here and there, but man, Avonte Maddox has fallen off so badly. It sucks, but Coop is the guy. And apparently, Guantanamo Bay, Quinion Mitchell was not credited against for that Cooper Cup touchdown last week because it was technically Sidney Brown's coverage as the safety, and he was coming over to try and defend. So he still technically has not given up a touchdown yet this season. I know he doesn't have the interception numbers or maybe super high tackle numbers, but that's what a corner is supposed to do is take away an entire area of the field. He's got Quintanamo Bay on lockdown. And obviously we're biased here, based in, Pennsylvania, but clearing away rookie of the year. I mean, Jared Verse is playing really well, and Latu, or how you say his name with the Colts, is obviously in there too. But I, just the numbers don't lie. No receiver is doing anything against him. Even Mike Evans. Mike Evans, uh, when CD Lamb was up against him, nothing. Um, Scary Terry, nothing. Like he locked him down. He's locking him down. So yeah, Eagles looking fucking great. I really can't believe how well they're playing. Um, we will see. We will see where this takes them. Um, but we went from wondering what if this was going to be a terrible season 4 games in to they figured it out. They know what to do. Now I will preface that I think if we didn't have Saquon Barkley and we still had, let's say, DeAndre Swift, I don't think we'd be, what are we, 10-2? 9-2? Hold up. We're 10-2. I think if you take away Saquon, it's tough to say. Realistically, probably I still think this team's really good. I would say maybe 7-5 though. Because if the defense plays the way they do, I think maybe 8-4. But Saquon has really been a game changer, and he should be MVP. You know, realistically, we should have MVP Saquon, Rookie of the Year in Mitch, and if Jalen Carter can like somehow manage to like throw 10 sacks on the next final weeks of the season, he could jump into that conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. But anyways, so Eagles are great. Like I said, we're not going to do too much here on this episode, but obviously as a Philly-based podcast, we gotta touch on the birds. But quick hits around the rest of the league from week 13 as we approach week 14. Which also crazy. I didn't know bye weeks were still happening. This is the last week for a bye, which um I don't remember being like maybe because they added that extra game, but I always thought the buys were done by week 12. But man, like the last 3 weeks I've had to sub out so many people in fantasy football because of bye weeks. This week I don't have a single tight end on my one team because I have Mark Andrews and Hunter Henry, and both of them are on buys. Um, but Mixon's out. A bunch of my running backs are on buy. Like whatever. Anyways, Thursday was Thanksgiving. We had the Lions beat the Bears 23-20, classic Bear fashion. Cowboys beat the Giants 27-20. Micah Parsons seems to think that people are counting the Cowboys out and that they're going to make a run here. They have like a 2% chance to make the playoffs, but I get it, Micah. He's going to be a route. He's going to, he's got to talk his truth about, hyping up his team. Weirdly, it feels fake, if I'm being honest. It feels like he knows he's not going to be in Dallas his whole career. So he's trying to paint the picture that he's a good teammate and wants his team to win, which he probably does. But I don't think it's to this extent where he's like, we are really good and people are doubting us and we're one of the better teams in the league. Like, stop it. Stop it. And then final game on Turkey Day, Packers beat the Dolphins 30-17. Black Friday game, I almost had my upset prediction correct. The Raiders fucking ruined it. Chiefs won 19-17. Raiders, Aiden O'Connell, I think it was, like had a fucking fumble with like the last minute of the game, and oh, it was so close. That was so close. Um, Sunday's action: Texans beat the Jags 23-20. Colts beat the Patriots 25-24. We had a lot of close games. Chargers beat the Falcons 17-13. I forget if it was 4 or 5, but Kirk Cousins had like 4 or 5 interceptions this game. He was so good the first half of the year, and this second half he has fallen back. I think they're tied with the Bucks now. The only thing going for the Falcons is that they're 4-1 in their own division. So in the NFC South, they're 4-1. Like that's obviously the worst they can do is 4-2. So if they finish with the same record as the Bucks, they're still going to make the play. They'll could get that division. Seahawks beat the abysmal Jets 26-21. The Commanders had a perfect get right game, beat the Titans 42-19, which was kind of crazy because Titans were actually their defense has been playing really well. Um, but they got trampled. Probably game of the week was Bengals and Steelers. Steelers won 44-38. Um, Once again, Joe Burrow, 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, is still going to get a dub. But Russell Wilson, man, he's cooking. 400 passing yards, 3 tutties. And they're doing what they got to do. They're running the ball with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and George Pickens is doing his best Antonio Brown impressions, both on the field and on the sideline. But it was a wild game. Steelers were up like forget. Yeah, the Steelers scored 20 points in the second quarter. And then Cincinnati had a late comeback, scored 14 in the fourth quarter, but wasn't quite enough. Bengals are pretty much out of the playoffs, but they still have a slight chance. And then Vikings squeaked out a win against the Cardinals, 23-22. Rams won against the Saints, 21-14. The Bucks went into overtime with the Panthers. Panthers have, I'm a little worried about this game. Panthers and the Eagles play this week. I'm gonna pick the Eagles, but I'm saying right now, don't be surprised if this is like a 21-17 game that the Eagles squeak out a win because the Panthers are playing people hard. And no matter how good of coaches you have, how smart and how focused of players you have, someone on your team is going to overlook your opponent. Um, so this could be a trap game for them. I'm not saying they should lose a game, but they can afford to lose. If anything, I'll pick the Steelers to win the week after because I'd rather drop an AFC game than an NFC game. Realistically, I think they sweep the rest of the season. I mean, you got Carolina, they should win. Steelers, they should. Steelers are the last good. I mean, because the rest are division games. You got Washington, Dallas, and the Giants. Giants are dead. Washington, you have to kind of win that game because they're right somewhat on their heels. And then Dallas is gonna just be like a weird feisty team that maybe they take one, but I think realistically the Eagles only lose one or two more games. I would venture to guess one game, maybe the Giants game if they sit the players. I don't know, but anyways, Bills trampled the 49ers 35-10. Josh Allen had like a I don't think it should count as a catch, but technically he had a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown. He threw the ball or he pitched it to Amari Cooper, and he was like kind of getting tackled. And so Cooper pitched it back to lateraled it to Josh Allen, and he like went around the corner and dove to the pylon and scored. Pretty cool, and it was snowing, so it was very cinematic. But yeah. But hey, remember if y'all were here for the first episode of the season, our predictions, I said Josh Allen's going to be MVP. I know I wasn't, the only one picking that. It was a fairly popular choice, but I'm just saying. I said that. What else happened? I didn't even watch the Monday night game because I saw Browns versus Broncos, and I was like, that's gonna be a toilet bowl game. Broncos won 41-32. It was a hell of a game. I'm upset. I only watched the last couple of minutes of it, and I caught some highlights, but apparently that was a fucking game. A classic Jameis game. I think he threw two pick sixes. Yeah, Jameis Winston had 497 yards, four touchdowns, and three interceptions. He threw the ball 58 times. Even crazier, Jerry Jeudy in a revenge game against the Broncos had nine catches for 235 yards. I don't since like Megatron and um Julio Jones, like I don't remember receivers casually getting 200 yards. We had Jamar Chase earlier a couple weeks ago, and now Jerry Jeudy. We had Saquon over 200 rushing yards. Like this isn't normal, but that was week 13. Game pick results from last week. We had I did well 10-6. It's not terrible, but I went 10-6. Tim went 12-4, and my brother Reno, who does not watch football, but we always get him on to do like a weekly game picks. 15-1. The only game he had wrong was the Dolphins. He picked the Dolphins to beat the Packers. Otherwise, he was all correct. I don't think Tim or I have had only one incorrect. Maybe I think I either had one or two one week, but that really messed up our standings because now Tim's in the lead with 121 wins. Our guest picks is now at 119 in second, right behind. And then I'm in third with 118. So it's a close race. Um, we'll have to see, how it pans out, but it's getting a little dicey. So it's gonna be tight. Gonna be a tight road the rest of the way here, but we shall see. And then what we're gonna do now is just kind of go through week 14 here and pick the games. So let's see. I got Tim's picks here. So first game, Packers and the Lions. I'm gonna pick the Packers just because Tim's picking the Lions, and I need to either catch up or give up. So, but I think the Packers could win. Uh, then we have Sunday, Browns and the Steelers. I think the Browns won like 3 weeks ago, so gonna have to take the Steelers here. Tim is also taking the Steelers. Um, Saints at the Giants. Yeah, Tim's taking the Saints. I'm also gonna take the Saints there. Jets and the Dolphins. The Jets are dead beat, so I'm taking Miami after a tough loss against the Packers. Tim's also taking Miami. Jags and the Titans. Uh, no, no Trevor Lawrence, presumably. So I'll take the Titans. Tim's also taking the Titans. Falcons and the Vikings. Falcons haven't shown me anything. I'll take the Vikings. Tim's taking the Falcons. Panthers and the Birds. Go Birds. You know who we're on. Raiders and the Buccaneers. The Bucks need this game. The Raiders are garbage. So we're both on the Bucks. Seahawks at the Cardinals. Again, anytime Seattle's home, I would pick them, but I don't know. I think the Cardinals are a feisty team, but they're not quite as they're Seahawks are like a fringe wildcard team, so I'll take Seattle. Tim's also taking Seattle. Bears and the Niners. I mean, they just lost CMC, and their other and Mason, the backup. No Ayuk. Uh, but the Bears will bear, so 49ers will figure out a way to win. I'll take the 49ers. Tim's gonna take the Bears. Bills and the Rams. You know, I could see the Rams winning here. I'm gonna take LA. Tim's taking the Bills. Um, and then Chargers Chiefs. Tim is taking the Chiefs. I will take the Chargers. We have a lot of parity. This is gonna be really good or really bad. Um, and then Monday night, Bengals and the Cowboys. Man, NFL, stop putting Dallas on prime time. Come on now. Cowboys, Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals. Tim is also taking the Bengals. And that's it for week 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. So I guess there's only what, two or four teams on buys. I don't know. But I know the Texans are on buy and I believe the Ravens are on a buy. No, wait, Texans, Ravens. I think the Patriots are on a buy. And there's got to be another team, but we'll see. But yeah, like I said, quick episode. Just wanted to get on with the Eagles and Saquon and Cooper DeJean. Like I said, don't be surprised if this game against Carolina is a lot closer than it should be. Could be a trap game, but Carolina's playing hard. Ever since Bryce Young came back in, they've been. I mean, they took two potential playoff teams to close to overtime or in overtime. So we will see. But hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We're getting close to Christmas, as you can see by my Shanahan. But yeah, everybody have a great weekend. And as always, go Birds. Peace.